Welcome to the Power Unit Success Cast, the show where we push the limits to unlock our greatness. Each week, we dive into the world of real estate, business, and entrepreneurship to bring you stimulating talks, insights from movers and shakers, and the mindset to do more so we can become more. Let's get into this week's episode.
I know over the past few weeks, we've been dabbling into sales, and last week, we full on talked a lot about sales. So if you haven't listened to that episode, definitely listen to last week's episode. But we really got into sales and we started role playing. We even role played with Jewel when she was on here. Even though she has a t-shirt business, we were still kind of role playing. But I got a lot of comments and DMs asking me like, what script do you have, or how'd you get like that, or all this kind of stuff. So I thought what we could do is really dedicate this episode to breaking down some of the psychological aspects of sales. Basically, I want to make sure that people listening to this know how to sell or know how to become a salesperson and kind of do the thing. How do you feel about that?
Right on it. Yeah, it's important. It's important to know how to sell yourself because it's just not going to pop up at your door. You have to put in the work. You have to learn people. You have to learn how to become somebody that they feel trusted to be able to handle a sale or a purchase, whatever it is. So you have to be able to.
So let me ask you this, because you've been around me for years now, and you've seen me sell, you've seen how I do sales. Like, what is your honest opinion? Honest opinion.
Honest? Okay.
Yeah, about how I sell.
All right. So my honest opinion on how you sell, it's really good to watch you interact with prospect and clients because it's all about competency, knowing your market, and also knowing what it is that they're looking for. And what I've seen you do, which was very masterful, you ask more questions than anything I've seen. The more questions you ask, the more information you get out of the prospect or the client. And man, just watching you drill and ask questions and just listen, and then afterwards you're reflecting on what they said. That's key. That's real key. Yeah.
And honestly, I have not always been like that. We're all real estate agents, and we feel like when we're approaching somebody, whether it be a buyer or we're at a listing appointment, we have to sell them on how great we are and what we have to offer. Like that was the way that I was taught in the very beginning. It was, we have this, and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And I was a firm believer in everything we had to offer. Like I wasn't lying about anything.
Right.
And I was thinking that, this is so great. Like they should want this, until people started telling me no. And it's like, well, you're dumb. Like
right.
You're not going to get this anywhere else. And I was contemplating so many things, like, is this the right brokerage? Is all this stuff special? And I ended up making some moves, but I went to a brokerage that didn't have as much as the brokerage that I was previously at. But I want to say I really learned how to sell there. And it was evident when I was getting more listings with less, how do you say, like resources or less offers.
You don't have all the pizzazz right there. It's just me.
Yeah.
And in my concern for you.
Yeah. Was that like similar to how you learned how to sell before you joined my team? But
Yeah. Well, before I joined the team, I was just out there. I didn't have a process or anything like that. So now, even the get to know you form, right, was very impressive to me. Like, wow, okay, you got this whole list of questions that you're asking the client. So it's just not, let me just go in here and try to sell my product and what we're offering you. It was more so, who are you? What do you like? Let's get to know you a little bit more. Why do we do that? Because we want to make a bridge between me and you as the prospect and the agent, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's kind of break down
Okay.
the sell, or the way that I sell, the way that
Mhm.
you sell now.
Mhm.
Because you mentioned that I ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing with successful selling. Well, no, it's not even the first thing. The first thing happens within the first 3 seconds,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So I have this little rule where you have to compliment someone at least 3 times within the first 3 seconds.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Now, of course, you're not going to like boom, 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 but 3 seconds is kind of general.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, what does that sound like? Hey, David, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
That's one compliment.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me out. You have a lovely home.
Lovely home.
That's the second compliment.
Yeah.
Then, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to meet you. This is going to be great.
Right.
That's the third compliment. Okay.
Mhm.
And what I just did was I made that person feel good. Like I put them up on a pedestal. I'm just showing my appreciation, but in turn, that's a compliment,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
When it comes to psychology, they're feeling more trusting of me.
Mhm.
They feel like they've built a little bit of rapport,
Mhm.
and it's just saying those 3 little things,
Yeah. And we're not BSing people.
No,
It's
no.
not BSing. If you walk into a home and they know that their home is probably not up to par, you're gonna find something to where you can edify that. So going in there and talking to them about, when I meet them, thank you for meeting me. I appreciate you taking your time out to meet me. But then I also look around the home to find something that is actually some good to me that I like, and I make sure it's known. I compliment them so they know what's going on. So whether it be the material, whether it be the space, or how the flow of the home is, I'm making sure they know that the home, I really like it,
Yep.
and so I'm invested now.
Yep. Number 2, always find some common ground,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
How I tell it on the team is I have a cousin for everything. So I have a cousin for everything.
Yeah.
Like if I see a photo of a family visiting someplace,
Boom.
oh, I have a cousin who lives
lives
there,
there.
or I have a cousin who visited there.
Mhm.
If I see some sports stuff, oh, I have a cousin, that's his favorite team. Like I'm
Right.
always gonna find some type of common ground that we
Mhm.
can chat about,
Mhm. Yep, and that's good. Finding that common ground is also good because then that's something relatable that you can guys talk about, and you don't know where it could end up.
Mhm.
Once you find that common ground and you make that establishment, hell, they might even recommend somebody to you from because you just been there. So I mean, it's common ground is key.
Yep.
Yeah.
So once you tackle those 2, now we move into the actual questions part.
Okay.
And questions start pretty much at the beginning and last throughout the whole thing. You know how I always say 90% is them talking, 10% is you talking.
Mhm.
And every question you ask is setting you up for the close. That's the most important part.
Mhm.
Every question you ask is setting you up for the close. Think about this. Whenever you are cold calling, right, you get the same objections every time, pretty much.
Mhm. Yeah.
Write those objections down because they're going to keep coming up. If you go on listing appointments and you're getting the same objections, write that stuff down because they're going to come up again.
Mhm.
When you are asking the questions, you're asking questions to be able to overcome those objections.
Right.
So the old way of me doing it, somebody will say, your commission's too high. I want to work with someone who has a lower commission,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Then what do? I start getting into, here's why my commission is this. Here's what makes it great, this, that, and the other. But if I ask a question at the beginning, hey, Mr. Seller, let me ask you this. When it comes to the actual deal and closing on this home, what's most important to you? Sales price, commission, how much money you're putting in your pocket,
Mhm.
this, that, and the other. Like, I'm getting that up front just in case it does come up
Mhm.
later,
Yep. 'Cause
right?
it
And
will.
if they tell me that commission is not the one thing that they're after, then now when we get to that point and they try to give that as an objection, I could be like, oh, well, you mentioned that commission wasn't a big deal.
Right.
You know, let's revisit that. But anyways, you're just asking things to use as leverage when you do have to close.
Right. Right.
Makes sense?
It makes
Yeah,
perfect
right.
sense. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So what you're saying is the experience that you're going through. First of all, you have to put in the work to do this. Like
Mhm.
this doesn't come by reading a script,
Nope.
memorizing.
Nope.
You have to get out there. So what is the best practices you feel that people should do in order to be ready for stuff like that? Because they have to be comfortable with it.
Yep. So great question. And I'm going to give you an even greater philosophy behind it.
Okay.
Okay. It is the 4 stages of competence.
Okay.
All right. 4 stages of competence. You can look this up. This is straight up psychology. So on the bottom stage, we have unconscious incompetence. And what that basically means is you don't know something and you don't even know that you don't know something. Right. So think about a baby, right?
Right.
Obviously, we're all adults. We know we have to tie our shoes. But as a baby, does a baby know that they have to tie their shoes? Do they know that this is something that they need to learn? They don't know anything.
They don't know anything. Yeah.
They don't know anything. They're unconscious to even the thought of tying a shoe. And so they definitely don't know how to do it. So they're unconsciously incompetent.
Right.
Now, as that baby grows into a toddler, right, they're starting to learn and they're starting to watch everybody else. So now they're becoming competent that they need to learn how to do this, right? But they still don't know how to do it. Okay.
Right.
So now we're getting into conscious incompetence.
Yeah.
Right? So they know that they don't know something. As a real estate agent, you know you got to sell, but you don't know how to do
You
it.
don't know how.
Right? You're consciously incompetent.
Yeah. You know there's something that you need to do, but you just don't know
Exactly.
how to do it.
Then we move into the 3rd step. Now you're teaching them, they're learning, right? So now they're consciously competent.
Right.
Okay? I know that I know how to do this. I know how to do this. That's what I call reading a script. Like, you know how to read the script. You know how to say the lines on those scripts. You're consciously competent of that specific script. Now, think about you as an adult. When you put on a shoe, do you think about what you're doing? Do you think about, oh, the one string, the other string, I'm going to make some bunny ears, I'm going to do it.
Right.
You just do it.
You just do it.
You just
go.
do it. You don't even think about it.
Yep.
Now you are unconsciously competent. You're not thinking.
You're not thinking.
You're just doing.
doing
You
it.
know how to do it.
Yep.
You don't think twice about it. So when it comes to the whole art of sales and stuff and scripts, it's not so much about learning a script. It's learning the psychology of sales so that you can become unconsciously competent when performing a sales activity. That's how I'm able to, you ever heard that, sell me this pen?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
there's some
Sell me this
people who
pen.
could just hop right on and sell it. And there's others who got to think about it. What do I say? How do I say this?
Right.
The people who can just hop to it and get it done, they're unconsciously competent because they know how to sell. So it doesn't matter what you put in front of me, whether it be a pen or a whole house, I'll know how to sell it because I understand sales on a different level. For those
Right.
people who are doing a lot of thinking, they are probably consciously competent, right?
Right.
Or they could be a little bit less than that. But everyone starts unconsciously incompetent about everything. About everything. There was a day in time I didn't know sales, and I definitely didn't know how sales affected everything, right?
Yeah.
Like it just wasn't something I was ever thinking about. Even when I got into real estate, I didn't even connect the sales part of thing. I was like, oh, you just follow the instructions on the contract. Like, I didn't
Right.
even
Yeah.
take into account the actual sales side of things. But once I did, I went on a journey to, hey, not only do I want to learn these scripts, not only do I want to learn how to sell, but I want to understand the psychology of sales.
Right.
So now I'm at that unconscious competence level where it just, I could just do it in my sleep,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Without even thinking.
Yeah. So I got a question, man. So learning all of this and what you're doing now, because it's not only real estate that you're doing now, you're coaching,
Yeah.
you're teaching people. Why is, well, where did the desire come from that you wanted to help other agents? Like, where did that come from? Why are you doing it? And like, what was the drive?
Yeah. So my desire to help other agents,
Yeah.
I guess, came from what I was doing. I mean,
Mhm.
most people know me from YouTube,
Yeah.
right? And I've always been real on my YouTube channel, shared a bunch of stuff, given a bunch of information.
Mhm.
And I think people started seeing that progression of, hey, this man is actually building a career and he's doing stuff. I
Mhm.
remember that first video where he wasn't making no money,
Right.
and
Mhm.
people started reaching out wanting me to help them. Well, I wasn't thinking consciously about it. I was just kind of like, yeah, I'll help. No problem.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Right.
I'll answer your
Okay, no
question.
problem.
And one person turned into two, turned into three, turned into a bunch. And I was like, all right, like there is only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I'm sitting here on the phone all day with other agents, like that's time that's coming away from my business.
Mhm.
So then I started charging, right?
Mhm.
Because I
Right.
knew everybody wasn't going to want to pay. Even today, not everybody wants to pay. And that's cool because what it does is that trims out the people who aren't willing to invest in themselves.
Right.
And so for me, the more that my career progressed, I was teaching that to the people who were paying me,
Mhm.
right? And who are paying me. And I couldn't find like a moment where I was just like, all right, this is the end.
Mhm.
Because when is it truly the end? You just keep
Yeah.
keep learning. The more that I do, the more that I teach them. Um, so it's just been this constant evolution. And
Mhm.
so now we have the apprentice program where I literally take agents by the hand and lead them to those 2 to 3 transactions a month
Right.
consistently,
Yeah.
right? What a lot of agents have expressed to me is, hey, my brokerage gives a lot of information. They have a lot of training classes, but there's always a but it's way too generic,
Mhm.
or the person doesn't understand my situation,
Right.
so they have a hard
Right.
time connecting with that. A lot of people, a lot of agents have worked with mentors and coaches, have bought programs. Same thing with them. It's too
Mhm.
general. Or I got in, now they're trying to sell me something else.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
I'm not getting results. Then again, they don't understand my situation. The coach
Mhm.
doesn't really care.
Mhm.
And there are so many agents out there who want to do great and who are working hard, right? Working
Right.
hard, doing everything that they've been told to do, but they're not getting the results.
Mhm.
Like, it's like, hey, how much longer do I do this? So what I
Right.
decided to do with the apprenticeship was be more than just coaching, be more than just a mentorship, but literally taking agents by the hand on the first call. We dissect and look into your business to see
Wow.
where those opportunities are.
Mhm.
Hey, how much money did you make? What do you currently do? What do you want to do?
Mhm.
And I get into, what is your process for that? Like,
Right.
what do you
Yeah.
do? Walk me through it.
See, that question, what you just said was key. What is your process? And I
Mhm.
think a lot of agents who are new and come on, they don't have a process.
Yeah.
And let's say for the agent who's been in it for a couple of years, when you ask that question, they're like, well, you're asking them to expose themselves a little bit. And that's uncomfortable sometimes because you have to really admit your shortcomings or where it is. So, um, when you're taking the lead and asking these questions going down the line of the process, those who are actually benefiting from the apprenticeship, what's their reaction like? How do you feel that they're opening up to you versus someone who's,
Yeah. I
not wanting to
feel
do anything?
I feel that their reaction is very positive,
Okay.
right? Because for the first time, they are experiencing someone like really invested in their business, wanting to know what they're doing,
Mm.
how they're doing it, telling them if it's right or if it's wrong. And the big problem with a lot of agents and teaching out there is most people don't know what they need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing. That's what's taking everybody's money. It's like you don't know what you need. Hey, I think I need to make social media videos. Okay, I'm gonna buy this course.
You buy it.
Hey, I
Mhm.
think I need to learn how to do mortgages. I'm gonna buy this.
You know
I
what?
think I
need
need
to
to
buy
like,
Zillow leads
yeah,
too.
I
Yeah.
think I need
Yeah.
Zillow leads. And you spend all this money
Mhm.
on these solutions that aren't really solving the problem. So that's why even for me in the apprenticeship is the first thing we got to do is I got to take a full look at things so I can diagnose the
Mhm.
problem
Yeah.
and provide a solution for that specific problem. What's been amazing to see is the agents who, we come in, we look at everything, and I'm like, your problem is you're not talking to your past clients.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I need to get on Facebook. I need to get on Instagram and I need to do this, this, this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all that's great, but this is your real problem. And
Mm-hmm.
so here's what I want you to do for the next 2 weeks. And I tell them, and guess what? They get results. And they're literally like, oh my gosh, I'm addicted.
Yeah.
I want to do this. And what that now allows is, okay, now that you know this, now I can teach you this.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I can teach you what you want to know because I've been able to solve the problem that's hurting you,
Yeah.
right? You could sit there and post on Instagram all day and night, but if you don't get the root of the problem, like maybe you don't know how to sell. If we don't tackle that,
Mm-hmm.
these Instagram posts are going to do nothing for you,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Right.
So,
Or it's taking longer to see results when actually you have past clients that are already there, that when you're cultivating that relationship, they will refer you to someone else
yeah.
because of that. But you forget that part.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, why are you chasing new leads when you have 50 people that you've helped
Mm-hmm.
and you just need to call them? You just need to call them.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people mention to them about buying or selling the house? Do you know how many people mention to them about investing in another property?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a true statistic. Most consumers don't work with their real estate agent again because they lose their contact information.
They lose their information.
The realtor doesn't reach out.
Yep.
Like,
Oh man. That
right.
stings. That stings. When it's like, oh yeah, and you finally make the call, like, oh, my cousin was looking for a house, but they already bought a house, but I was looking for your information, but I didn't find it. I didn't.
Yeah. It
You're
sucks.
not top of mind.
It sucks. You're not
Mhm.
top of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And within the apprenticeship, we work on creating different sources for leads and for business, but all of these sources are very organic relationship based sources,
Mm-hmm.
right? Think about this with Facebook and Instagram. You don't really know what's going to come in, when it's going to come in. Is this person serious or not? Are they going to want to do something? Are they even qualified? Right? Instead, we invest in a few different buckets, and they're all real people.
Mm-hmm.
You know who they associate with, you know what's their thing. And I always say, hey, out of these buckets, because we try to get the people in these buckets to 50 people for each bucket. Out of these buckets, if everyone just sends you one deal within the next 12 months, what would that do for your business? Just one deal. Think about just one of those buckets. You have 50 people in that, and all you ask of them is that they send you one deal
Mm-hmm.
in 12 months, 365 days.
Yeah.
That's 50 more deals that you're closing on.
Mm-hmm.
And all you're doing is reaching out to people, loving on them.
Yeah, man, that's it. You know, the beautiful thing is, we have a thermometer that we can use in order to see when people are going to actually move and when they're thinking about do it, when a school year ends, when a school year uh when it's almost beginning. Like you have these measurements where you can use to kind of gauge they may know somebody or they themselves may be moving. So
Like
you have to,
indicators.
yeah, them indicators. Yeah. So, use those.
Yeah.
It's a good time for you to reach out to your people.
Right. And another way to think about it is leveraging your marketing,
Mm-hmm.
right? You
Right.
can spend so much money and time always chasing the next lead, but what if you got everybody else doing that for you,
Mm.
right? What
Mm.
if you got everybody in your database on the lookout for you?
Wow.
Now it's not just you trying to get that next lead.
Mm-hmm.
You got 50 people out there who, whenever they hear about real estate, they're dropping your name.
Yep.
Whenever someone indicates about moving, they're dropping your name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's so much better, isn't it?
That's better.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we work to get people to. So
Mhm.
the apprenticeship program, it's a different experience.
Yeah.
It's one-on-one. I meet with everyone one-on-one every single week.
Yeah.
We have group calls, training videos. I give everybody whatever resource they need, whether it be a form, a phone number, an email address, like whatever they need to get the job done. And it's
Mhm.
super cool because not everybody's on the same level. So it's a true catered experience to what they need right now.
Mhm.
What you specifically need in your business to reach the next level. We have new agents in there, solo agents, team leaders. Like, it's a variety of people
Yeah.
in the apprenticeship.
Yeah. No, it's
So-
good. Yeah, I've seen them.
Definitely. Yeah. So if anybody needs that kick,
Yep.
we may have some spaces open at the time that you're listening to this. You can book a call. We'll see if it's a fit and we'll get you going. You know,
Sure. Yeah,
not everybody's
sure.
a fit, but we'll see.
No, it's good. That's good. And again, don't be too proud to say you know it all already. Because there's always something that you can exercise and get better at. There's always
Yeah.
something you need to brush up on. What I've learned as an entrepreneur, there's always something that can be improved upon.
Yeah. And that's that level of unconscious incompetence.
Yeah.
You don't know that you don't know something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if someone introduces you to a better way of doing something or another level you can reach or another way to get business alongside what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't even know existed, like,
Right.
think about what that would do, you know?
Yeah. You know what? Talk about, I'm going to go to the sidebar here. I want to talk about you really becoming a salesperson. I really want to talk about
Hey,
this
okay,
part,
okay.
okay? You tell me what you did when you were standing outside apartment complexes when people were leaving. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So for those of y'all who haven't heard this story yet, when I was very green in the business, I didn't have a lot of business, and I had heard that rentals were a great way to make money. Now, I didn't really know how to market all that well, and I didn't have a big database,
Mhm.
but I was like, I want these renters. The renters, they're going to turn into buyers. The buyers are going to turn into sellers who are going to
Yep.
turn into more buyers. Like, I just
Mhm.
saw the money adding up, right?
Right.
But my problem was I didn't have any renters. Well, where do renters go? They don't necessarily buy Zillow leads or fill that stuff out. Like,
Mhm.
if someone is looking for an apartment, what are they doing? They are touring apartments.
Yes.
So I would go and I would stand outside apartment complexes, and literally I would see people walk in there, and when they would walk out, I'd just stroll up and be like, hey, did you lease a space there?
Mm-hmm.
Did they have any good deals? And I would act like I was a consumer, right? Like I was about to go and tour and be like,
Right.
yo,
right,
did y'all
right.
get a place there? Did they have any good deals?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, bet. I'm about to,
Right.
and
right.
if they said no, then swerve.
Yep.
Actually, have y'all saw this place?
Boom.
Oh, by the way, I'm actually a real estate agent, so I got much more where this came from, but y'all might want to check this. Are y'all working with the realtor?
Boom.
No. Oh man. Do y'all know about these incentives? No.
Boom. Yeah.
Are y'all trying to lease today? Let's go to the next spot together. Like legit, just
Yeah.
and there was not any formal training around that.
That was the next question. I was
Yeah,
like, did they teach you this in school or anything
heck
like that?
no, they don't teach you nothing in real estate school that you actually use. but no, I mean, it was just like at that point, like what was I gonna lose? Like what was
Yeah.
I gonna lose? Am I
Mhm.
gonna sit around and wait for a script that nobody has, or wait
Mhm.
for this instruction that's gonna be like, oh, show up to the apartment complex, stand 15 feet from the door,
Right,
and
right.
wear this, wear that? No,
Mm-mm.
I was just like a person. That's all I could. I was
That's
just
it.
a person. You
Yeah.
know, like let me see. If I want these people to talk to me, I don't want them to think I'm a hobo or a homeless person.
Mhm.
Like, okay,
Right.
well, act like you about to go tour. Well, how am I gonna know whether they got a place or not? Fucking
Just
ask
ask
them.
them.
Ask
Ask
them.
'em. Why not?
Like
Yeah.
just ask.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're gonna know. What's the
Mhm.
what's the worst thing that they can tell me in that situation? Yes, yeah, we got something.
Yeah,
Oh man,
Right. It's like, okay.
right.
Well,
But
good.
if they told
yeah.
me no, that was a winner
Boom.
because now I got the next opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And if they said yes, I'm gonna just continue acting like I'm about to go in there and tour.
Yeah.
Gonna go in there and go to the bathroom, or just walk in there and walk right back out.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
There's no what I'm learning and what I'm hearing you say, man. There's no cookie cutter formula to doing it. Like there's no cookie cutter way of going about doing these things. You have to think. You have to be competent, basically in the area, but also again you have incentives. You know the deals. You know people are always looking for deals, but again there's no formula
yep,
for us doing this and learning this stuff, man.
yep. We call that the training balance scale,
Mm-hmm.
where you have to have that balance, and more so on the thinking side
Mm-hmm.
versus the how-to side, right?
Right.
So most agents are always asking how to do this. Okay, when I do that, then what do I do? Okay, when I do that, then what do I do? When I do that, what do I do?
Right.
Oh, snap, I did it, but they didn't tell me that. They told me this. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because you tried to get a how-to for every specific scenario.
Mhm.
And then when it doesn't end up being that, now you're stuck again.
Yeah.
Just think, what result do you want? What result do you want? Hey, I want to get some people who want to rent a property. All right. Well, these people are coming out of apartment complexes. All I'm thinking about is the result. What do I got to say? Let me think. What is something someone could say to me?
Yeah.
Right? What is
right.
what is something someone can say to me to make me want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, did you lease there? No. You
Boom.
won't
Yeah.
find that in any book.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, have common sense when you think about it, you know?
Mm-hmm. You know, you just want to be able to prepare yourself as much as possible for you doing something like that.
But see, there's no way to like prepare for everything.
Not for everything. You can't. You just need to have the basics, you know?
So
But-
in that situation, the only thing that I would tell somebody to prepare for is if someone says yes.
Mhm.
That's the only thing,
Mm.
right? Even with the listing appointments, prepare for someone who wants to list with you.
Yeah. You
Right. Like, don't prepare for just making the phone call,
Right.
because that's what's holding you up, right? Don't
Mhm.
prepare for getting someone to, tell you, no, we didn't lease there.
Mm-hmm.
No, prepare for what happens next. Crazy thing too, with certain apprentices, we were doing some real hard thinking, and we were diagnosing a problem that one of my apprentices was having. And I just straight up asked him, I said, let me ask you this. Are you afraid of someone saying yes?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They said that was their problem. They're afraid of someone saying yes
Mm-hmm.
because they knew everything they wanted to say. They knew everything
They
that
knew all the
it takes.
objections. They knew how to overcome the objections, ready to go.
They know all that.
Mm.
I talk to agents about social media all the time. They know what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But what if someone says yes?
Yeah, you don't need to go through all of that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, we're ready.
Yeah. That's where, and it's crazy.
It is.
Because it's true. Like, we prepare ourselves so much for someone saying no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, if they say no, then I'm going to do this or I'm going to say this. But nobody thinks about when they say yes.
I remember I had a deal. We were cold calling. And I think we were on the 16th floor at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cold calling, and I called a lady, Maura, and I was expecting, to meet the wall, obviously. I mean, starting out the gate, she was happy to hear from me. She was like, yes, I have a house, but I also have land next to the house that I want to sell too. Can you come by?
Yeah.
Shocked.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, because I had my scripts ready. I was ready for the objections. When they said yes, it was like, boom, ready to go. So, man, it was really good.
Yeah, and that's one thing, like, I feel like people need to prepare more for.
Mm-hmm.
Prepare for someone saying yes.
Mm-hmm.
There was this quote, and I think that there's a book about it, but it's called Go for No, where it's literally about going out and getting 100 no's or getting a bunch of no's. Like, say that you were cold calling.
Yeah.
Instead of making your goal, oh, I want to talk to 10 people today and get 2 appointments.
Mm-hmm.
No, make your goal, I want 100 people to tell me no. Then I'll stop.
Yeah.
Think about what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 100 people, or out of those people that you're calling, chasing no, people are going to say yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So go for no for that big number and watch what happens. Literally.
Yeah. Changing the psychology of things.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to the Power Unit Success Cast. If you're excited about what you just experienced, make sure to subscribe. Also, leave us a rating if something you heard resonated with you, and feel free to share your thoughts about this episode on Instagram. See you next week.